What are the advantages and disadvantages of having a pet?
Some of the advantages, obviously, are the unconditional love that your pet can give you.
Hmm.
Um, that when you come home from like a tiring day at work, there is someone always here who's going to be very happy
Hmm.
to see you. Um, they can be incredibly comforting, incredibly sweet. Um, but it's also very difficult and demanding
Hmm.
if they are ill because they obviously can't tell you what the
Hmm.
problem is, and then obviously can be super worrying. So for me, the biggest disadvantage is um, the sort of like emotional side
Hmm. Hmm.
when they are poorly, and then
Hmm.
you want to be a responsible pet owner.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, responsibilities like waking up at the early hours to take them out for a walk, and not just once, but
Not
three
if you
or
have a
four times.
cat.
I know. But you still have to like, feed them, look after them. You can't just.
And of course, sometimes it could be financially difficult. It could be quite expensive having a pet.
Yeah, so there's obviously financial demands, vet bills, food, supplements.
So, what rules do you have for your pet?
So we don't have an awful lot of rules in the house, meaning that my dog can absolutely, it's absolutely allowed on furniture, for example. We do have like the door rule, which
Hmm.
means that the dog is always the last one to exit the door or to leave the house or any door,
Hmm.
which is something that is for her own safety.
Hmm.
And this is something that she more or less knows now, but she's always
Hmm.
pushing her boundaries. So this is a rule she always needs to be reminded of.
Hmm.
Um, and I would say that's like the only rule we have in the house, because otherwise she's a very sophisticated and
Hmm.
well-behaved dog. Outside, yeah, she's always on the leash, and she's only allowed to walk around freely in the dog park. And the rule
Hmm.
is come back when her name is called, which again, more or less
Hmm.
works.
Okay. So, what kind of advice would you give to prospective
Hmm.
dog owners? Would you sort of maybe three of the most important pieces of advice for a
Hmm.
prospective dog owner?
Yeah. So I think you do need a lot of patience when
Hmm.
you're trying to teach a new rule or a new trick to your dog. Consistency is key. So
Hmm.
if something is a rule today, it absolutely has to be a rule tomorrow and
Hmm.
the next week.
Hmm.
And maybe advice number three is that if you're in doubt, maybe ask for like professional help, like a dog trainer. I remember we had an issue
Hmm.
with her recall and the door rule, for example. So we had a dog trainer come to our house for a couple of hours, and he showed us some tips and tricks, and then we followed those religiously. And then she learned this, even though she was an adult dog when we
Hmm.
implemented these
Hmm.
rules. Consistency and repeating um, did um, did end up her being a very well behaved dog.